everyone, thank you for tuning in. I will be briefing you on the student contract, a required document to be signed by all students who wish to enroll with Dimensions International College. This video will guide you through the revised version of the contract, which is revision 3.0. But first, what exactly is a student contract? It is essentially a legal binding contract between Dimensions and you, the student. The Council for Private Education provides the standard template for this document to all private education institutions, or better known as PEI. Each student contract will be given a unique contract number. If any amendments is made which will change the original intent of the contract, you and the college must sign beside the amendments on both sets of the student contract. No fields in the contract will be left blank. Where non-applicable, it will be filled with an A. It is also important to thoroughly read through the advisory note provided beforehand and the student contract itself before agreeing by penning down your signature. Here we have a sample of the student contract so you know how it looks like. On the cover, you will instantly recognize the contract as it indicates the involving parties, which are Dimensions International College and yourself. Your name will be on the cover, so do double check its accuracy. As you open up the contract, the second page will state detailed information of both parties involved, such as Dimensions registration number, your identification number or passport number, and full name of parent or legal guardian and their details if you are under 18 years old. Again, do check the details before proceeding to Section 1, which reads out Dimensions' commitment in delivering the course set out in Schedule A. Dimensions confirms that the course has also been permitted by the Council for Private Education, or CPE for short, and no amendments have been made unless otherwise permitted by CPE. The course fees and miscellaneous fees will also be set out in Schedule B and Schedule C respectively, which can be found later on in the contract. Still on the same page, Section 2 refers to our refund policy. There are 3 refunds acknowledged by Dimensions. The first would be refund for withdrawal due to non-delivery of course as stated in Clause 2.1. We will notify you within 3 working days for such cases whereby the course does not commence on the course commencement date, the course is terminated before the course commencement date, the course is not completed by the course completion date, or the course is terminated before the course completion date. Still on Clause 2.1, the other reasons stated include Dimensions not ensuring if you have met the course entry or matriculation requirements set and therefore you are unable to be enrolled into the course, or if your student pass application is rejected by Immigration and Checkpoints Authority, or better known as ICA. It states that you will be informed in writing of alternative study arrangements, if any, and also be entitled to a refund of the entire course fees and miscellaneous fees already paid should you decide to withdraw within the 7 working days of our notice. Refund for withdrawal due to other reasons is stated in Clause 2.2, which says that if you decide to withdraw from the course for any reason other than those stated in Clause 2.1, Dimensions will refund you accordingly based on the table in Schedule D. We will look at that later, but please note that students would need to submit a written notice of withdrawal and Dimensions will process and refund the stipulated amount within 7 working days of receiving said notice. Finally, in Clause 2.3, you would be glad to know that Dimensions provide a cooling off period of 7 working days after both parties have signed this contract. So regardless of whether the course commencement date has passed, you can submit your written notice for withdrawal to Dimensions and receive the highest percentage of the fees already paid as stated in Schedule D, found later in the contract. Continuing on the same page, you will find the last section, which is Section 3, highlighting important additional information. 3.1 states that laws of Singapore will apply to how this contract will be read and to the rights the parties have under this contract. Clause 3.2 mentions that if any part of this contract is not valid for any reason under the law of Singapore, this will not affect any other part of this contract. 3.3 highlights the awareness that if a student and Dimensions cannot settle a dispute using the way arranged by us, said student and Dimensions may refer the dispute to CPE Mediation Arbitration Scheme. More information can be found on www.cpe.gov.sg. Moving on to 3.4, it reads that all information given by you to Dimensions will not be given by us to anyone else, unless you sign in writing that you agree or unless Dimensions is allowed to give the information by law. Any agreement other than this contract is invalid if it is administered without the written permission of CPE, states clause 3.5, and if there is any other agreement between Dimensions and you that is different from the terms in this contract, then the terms in this contract will apply. 3.6 explains that if you or Dimensions does not exercise or delay exercising any right granted by this contract, both will still be able to exercise the same type of right under this contract during the rest of the time the contract continues. Lastly, in clause 3.7, it clarifies that if this contract is also signed or translated in any language other than English, and there is a difference from the English language copy of this contract, the English copy will apply. Now that we've covered all three sections of the contract, let us look at the remaining contents, which are Schedule A, B, C, and D. Schedule A will be on page 4, listing down your course details. Each numbered column are to be filled with the course information you've decided to enroll in at Dimensions, from its title to commencement and completion date to the name of the organization which awards the qualification and examination period. Please check if all details written are accurate. As we continue, you will find Schedule B, which is a list of your course fees breakdown. The total course fees payable is protected by Fee Protection Scheme, or FPS for short, except the application fee and prevailing good and services tax. If you have any installments with Dimensions, it will be listed in Installment Schedule, also found in Schedule B. Moving on to Schedule C, which lists any miscellaneous fees, meaning any fees you may pay only when applicable. Such fees are normally collected by Dimensions when the need arises, such as loss of students' pass or others. All miscellaneous fees are subjected to 7% GST. And finally, we arrive at the final page where you will find Schedule D at the top. Remember earlier we mentioned about refund percentages in refund for withdrawal due to other reasons? Well, here you can find the complete table of details regarding the percentage of refund qualified, which is dependent on when you submit your written notice. If you submit your written notice for withdrawal more than 14 calendar days before the start of your course, you shall be entitled a maximum refund of 70% of fees paid.
Students is entitled a refund of 50% of fees paid if the written notice is submitted not more than 14 calendar days before the start of your course, while if the student submits said notice not more than 7 calendar days after the start of the course, they will be entitled to a refund of 30% of fees paid.
As you can see, no refund will be entitled if the written notice of withdrawal is received more than 7 calendar days after the course commencement date. Below on the last page, the contract requires the signatures of both parties, and authorized personnel of Dimensions will acknowledge and sign the contract, after which you are required to sign alongside. Should you be under 18, please seek your parents or guardian to sign as well.
Please note that each contract is valid only for admission to one course.
You are required to sign 2 original sets of the student contract and will retain 1 set for personal. With that said, we've covered the whole student contract. We hope this video was informative and helpful. However, feel free to contact us or visit one of Dimensions' 3 campuses if you require further assistance on this or other inquiries. Thank you for watching. Dimensions bid you a happy inspired learning and all the best.